Those punches are getting through now.
Yes,
toward
they
the end
are.
of the third. They're coming through. Rick Fike taking a close look. Jessica doing a great job.
And this is real close to being stopped right now. Real close.
Yeah, and Rick Fike, one of the best in the game.
That's it.
He stopped
That
the
is
fight.
it.
This is your chance again. 'Cause when your back's against the fence and you gotta fight to pay the rent, it's for your life, my friend. So till the very end, fight for your life.
This segment of Fight for Your Life was brought to you by Fight Music, Volume 1. Get the album.
I'm Nick the Savage Joe, and I fight for my life.
I was born and raised in Barberton, Ohio. I was born at Barberton City Hospital, July 27th, 1986. I went to school for quite some time at Cuyahoga Falls, and then I moved to Rootstown, where I eventually graduated and eventually decided from that point that that's where I would start my life out. I played sports in high school. I did play soccer. I played track. I did basketball. I did really well in them. I was the first female to ever get Player of the Year for soccer. The program was still very young when I was going there, so it had only been there for 2 years. It's a small school. This is my hometown, Rootstown, probably 500 people total. Pretty much made up of like Talmadge Road and 44, which 44 leads you into Rootstown's arch rivals, Atwater. But pretty much 2 main intersections at Rootstown. It's definitely a small school. I think my graduating class, we had 150 people. The smaller schools don't quite get the recognition they deserve, but I think it definitely helps build character. The only bad thing about living out in country is the bus. I hated riding the bus. That's why I liked my older brother. He used to drive us to school all the time. Made it a little bit easier. My closest family members are going to be my father, my brother, Casey, and Michelle. Those are my everything. They support me in so much. And also, you know, my Uncle Roger, my Aunt Jo, my Uncle Buddy, they're all my very closest family. They're great people. They support me in my fighting. They've always supported me in any sport that I've ever done or anything that I've ever done. They've always bought tickets, been to every sporting event, even if it was just a soccer match or if it was, you know, basketball or track. You know, they absolutely love now that I do the fighting. I think that it kind of fits the personality of our family. We've definitely got more of an aggressive style family. We've always been known for that. My dad was one of 5 boys, so where we grew up at, they were known in that area for, I guess, being hellraisers a little bit. So, me and my father are very close now. We struggled with a relationship when I was growing up, and for a while there, me and my father didn't talk. I turned 18, thought I knew everything, moved out on my own, and realized that it wasn't. It was hard, and that I didn't know everything, and it took me to fall on my face to realize that my dad is very important to me, and he's always been there and always been my biggest fan and my biggest supporter, and I love him to death because of it now. We've got a great relationship. I mean, we talk every day. My father's house. Can count number of times I've had to mow the lawn that I hated, that I argued with them as a kid just to do. There they are.
You know how Jessie got mean? She wasn't mean when she was a little girl. She was a pretty little thing. She's still a pretty little thing. Until me and Randy left her one day when they come to live with us. And they left her, and my oldest son, duct taped her ass because she's an ornery ass shit. So we come home and she's duct taped. That's how he babysitted her, okay? She's never forgiven him for it. She probably never will, but she still was.
That's cute. Oh, Buzz is prettier.
awesome out here during the summertime. Yeah, I mean, we have the trampoline, the pool. My dad always has this big birthday bash every year, and usually 4th of July party where like me and all my family get together. This is just a quarter of the family, of everybody that spends time together, but it's always awesome. I mean, there's so much room, bonfires, four-wheelers, cornhole, horseshoes, the pool, music. You know, usually one of them are playing some kind of playing some hillbilly music or playing the guitar at some point all together and singing and having a good old time. But it's fun.
My name is Randy I. I'm Jessica I's father. I've had custody of her since she was a little baby. You know, she's always been a good little kid. Jessie was always fast, okay? You know, I'm telling you, that girl run up and down the court. She always run all over everybody. You know what I'm saying? She was just always quick and played hard to win. You know, Jessie's always been a winner. You know, she never liked to lose, you know, and I was always in the background cheering. She used to tell me I was the loudest. She could always hear me. Couldn't hear anybody else, but she said, Dad, I could hear you.
This past Christmas, my father got me a ring, and he's never bought me any jewelry before or anything that was so meaningful. It's got an open heart, it's a Jane Seymour ring, and what it is, it's got an open heart on it, basically to promote having an open heart in life, having an open mind, and to be adapt to all the different things that can happen in the world, and that as I grow up, I start to learn who I am, and I keep an open heart about it, an open mind about it. And my father is actually pretty surprised that I have it, though, so I always try to make sure if I'm going to go out there, I'm at least wearing it. So I've got all my little tools, like I'll put it on like a keychain when I go to train so I don't lose it.
Well, I'm proud to death. I don't know what to say. I talk about her all the time, man. We want to see her wear gold. If she wins this fight, I never say, you know, you're going to win, because you never know. You know what I'm saying? But if Jessie wins this fight, we're all looking forward to taking a big limo ride up to her next fight when she's fighting for the gold. You know, that's always been it's a dream of ours, Jessie and I. We talk all the time, and you know, she wants to wear gold. Okay, you know what makes it so cool? Is Jessie's a girl. You know what I mean? Jessie can hold her own, you know what I'm saying? She's really got it together for being 23 years old, I'm telling you. You know, watch her train and watch her fight, you know what I'm saying? The last few fights in the drive. And she's tough. You know, if you be around Jessie, you know Jessie's tough.
Next up on Fight for Your Life, Jessica I talks about her brush with fate and the horrific accident that almost ended it all. Hear how she battles back and finds the strength to persevere. Also, Jessica touches on her long-lost relationship with her mother. And now we return to Fight for Your Life, featuring female MMA fighter Jessica I.
Please welcome Jessica I.
Jessica I is she's like a sister to me. I tell you, I've liked her from the start. I met her father right away, and we hit it off very well. So her father's always looking in and saying, you know, how you taking care of my little girl? And really, she takes care of herself.
Last fight, I was real antsy. You know, nobody wants to see your daughter go in there and get hurt. You know, you can walk in any of them rings, you know what I mean, and get punched in the head and never be able to think right the rest of your life. You know, and it's you know, there's a lot of anticipation, you know what I mean, and anxiety over it, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, Jessie's going to do what she's going to do, you know, and she's been trained. I mean, Jessie's last 4 years has been in the gym, so she's trained to be a championship fighter. This whole family's behind her 100%. You know, I think that's her drive, too. You know what I'm saying? She's really got something to be proud of. And she feels the energy from us whenever we're at those fights. You know what I mean? Because if you watch any of her fights, which I'm sure you have, when she gets done with a fight, first thing she does is come to where we're at in that corner of that section of the audience. But she's got her hands up in the air, you know what I mean, looking at us, you know, and let us know, I want another one, Dad.
Gives her opponent a hug. Good sportsmanship.
I think she's going to buy her dad 100 acres like she promised when she hits it big, and I believe that kid's going to hit it big.
I was involved in a very bad car accident with my father in early of 2003. I had a soccer game actually that day. It was an indoor soccer game. I was out in Alliance, and I had got done with my soccer game, and my dad had got me, my first car was a 1982 Dodge 600, if you know what that is. It's similar to like a LeBaron. It was a drop top, digital dash. It was the coolest car. You know, of course, it's my first car. I'm 16 years old. I didn't care what it was, as long as it drove and had keys. Well, I got done with the soccer game, and I was going to stop by one of my friend's house, and it was on one of the country roads, and I made a stop and then came around the turn, and all of a sudden my car started to kind of like sputter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like I'm 16 years old, I'm like, what's going on with this thing? You know, drive, you're just supposed to go. So I had to walk to my friend's house. I called my dad, I'm like, hey, my car broke down, you need to come help me. I'm like 10 houses down the street from Ashley's over on Lynn Road, come meet me. Well, I walked back down to the car, waited for my dad to get there, and he had pulled up in front of us, and his 1991 Dodge Ram, which I don't know if you remember those cars, they're big, things are like tanks. So he parks in front of my car, and he tells me, Jess, he's like, pop both hoods, go get in the car. So both hoods are popped, my dad's standing between both of them, and I go to get in the car, and literally it was like a deer in headlights. I looked to the passenger side, and a drunk driver came speeding down about 50 miles an hour and sideswiped me and ran me over, and when he hit me, he hit the cars where it had pinned my father between both cars and then put me behind him. I broke my back, I broke my ankle, and I had some just minor cuts and bruises throughout it. My dad had to have complete reconstructive surgery on his knee. He lost work for a long time. I was bedridden for a good 4 months. I broke a T5 vertebrae in my back, and basically T5, if you don't know, it's your upper back, which is basic controls your thoracic muscles, all of your upper body movement that you have. Once I was actually released by the doctors to go back to school and, you know, just do basic walking, I asked them, I said, well, what can I do to help make this better? What can I do to help get myself rehab better? They're like, well, start with the walking, don't do any lifting, just run. I'm like, all right, well, I can do that. If I can just run, that's great. They're like, but you can't do any upper body lifting, any upper body movement. You're still in the brace. You can just, start with walking until you take the brace off. So they go, all right, you can run. Go ahead and start running. Well, I just started running all the time. Running. So it was the only exercise that I could do. So I continued to run and continued to run and continued to run. Did anything that I could. Well, I ended up making it to states that year for track, which was in the 200, the 400, and the long jump, which was just unbelievable, because going from not being able to do any movement to just being bedridden to running in regional and state tournaments to getting better. So it was definitely an experience.
What makes her so tough? I think it's that drive, the eyes. I mean, the family she was raised around, the people that, Roger and Joe and, Buddy and my other brother's Buddy and all them guys, they all raised her, we were all together. I was a single father, and raised her. She's a good fighter.
I'm going to tell you what, she's going to the top.
Yeah, she is going to the top. She humbled the hell out of me not too long ago, and we were talking, and I told her, she says, you took me halfway up the mountain, she goes, and you dropped me off, now she goes, I'm going to build you a set of stairs to get to the top, so that was cool. It kind of humbled the hell out of me, It was cool, it did.
My family separated at a very early age. I was probably 2 years old when my mom and dad split. My father and my mother didn't talk throughout the entire time, and my mother decided when I was 15, after 13 years, to make an appearance into my life, and it didn't really mesh well. It didn't. I'm definitely a daddy's girl. As my mother actually would say, and I feel comfortable saying this, is that why would you take what God blessed you with, meaning my face, and abuse that? And if you're anybody who actually knows me for me, you know that that's the last thing I want you to pay attention to. I'll cut my nose off, spite my face, just to show everybody that I don't want to be looked at as just this pretty girl. I want to be looked at as an athlete and as an individual. And they never really supported me through any of it. They didn't like it. I didn't talk to them. They didn't support me staying here in Ohio and competing and training. And they didn't really support the whole.
We talked about the
demeanor, the brutality of it.
Was able to impose her will. So far, it's been Jessica I.
I think she's a stronger fighter, the more dominant fighter.
Huge group of friends that support me in Redstone that I went to school with and I graduated with. And sometimes I miss them. I miss having that relationship like we all used to, like when I lived in Akron and I went to school out at Akron University, and I would just go over to my, friend Josh's, and I would go and hang out with all the guys and all the girls and everybody, and we would watch TV and just
hang out and be young and 20 and 21?
My dating life is definitely the biggest downfall right now. It's definitely, I was in a long relationship for the past year and a half with a great guy. Just couldn't really, it's hard to maintain the relationship. The fighting and the training and the work takes a lot of my time. And it definitely, between being around the guys all the time, it takes a confident person to want to be with me. And it takes someone else to understand that this has to, my fighting, the gym, it doesn't, not that it comes first, but that it almost sets an even tone with them. That it doesn't make me not care about someone any less, but that this is important to me too. And if you can come onto my lifestyle and accept the gym and love the gym and love the fighting, then it can work. But other than that, it's very hard to have a relationship because the fighting takes up so much of my time. And like I said, it'll take a confident person to want to be with me and someone that understands my fight life. I have thought about wanting to start a family and a lifestyle for myself. Like you said, I'm 23 years old. You know, a lot of girls that I know are having children and starting to find relationships and, you know, start families. I do want a family. Right now, it's not in my near future. I want my fighting to take place. I want my career so that when I do decide to have a family, it'll be for all the right reasons and it'll be at the right time when I'm ready and I can give, you know, my child or my family the most amount of attention and give them the best life that I can give them.
And now we return to Fight for Your Life, featuring female MMA fighter Jessica I.
Hi, I'm Jessica I, and I fight for my life. I think it's the coolest thing when I get to meet little kids that come up and talk to me, when I get to meet, you know, grown adults, women, you know, men,